Okay. So we're here at the climate change protest, and they talked about how there's the fastest warming city, but apparently, you know, they don't say that urban heat island effect is the reason, not global climate change. There's barely anybody here. Okay. Because you can't. What an alarm. The IPCC's recent report states that we only have a few years left to reverse climate change. At this rate, we will be living in an oxygen mass. I'm scared, and I'm scared about future generations. You shouldn't be the one to and what to scorch our earth to unstability, there is no planet B. Yup, we are agents of change. One day we will carry the torch and inherit the responsibility of making decisions to better protect our environment, but we need to make sure there will be a planet to protect. As Alexander Ocasio-Cortez once said, we don't have time to for young people, climate change is bigger than election or re-election. It's life or death. And that is why we call on you to call on your elected officials to support a Green New Deal, which is what the Sunrise Movement was founded on. It takes bold action for fighting climate change, such as plans for 100% clean renewable energy by 2030, utilizing a carbon tax, a job guarantee, free college, single-payer healthcare, and a focus on using public programs. In closing, I ask you to resonate with these words and consider what the future holds for us if we don't take immediate action. But wait, that won't end. I'm just going to be going over our policy demands that all of our organizations can have. Although the Inflation Reduction Act, which included provisions for renewable energy, was a step in the right direction, there is much more progress to be made. And the Inflation Reduction Act was also grassroots local organizations. So our policy demands are a Green New Deal, finding justice, land justice, moving fraud, environmental equity, and we can see that low-income communities have been disproportionately impacted by the climate crisis. And we want to draw attention to urban heat lines, Lake Mead drying up, and we want clean climate infrastructure. Along with that, we want to promote renewable energy. Now, it is so important that we all get involved and educate ourselves on what is happening so we can vote for individuals who will advocate for issues like climate change on a national scale. So that is all that we have for you today, but just to end, we're going to be doing one last rally. So when I say what we want, you say climate action. When I say when we want it, you say now. And now. What do we want? When do we want it? Now. Okay, thank you so much all for coming again. And like our amazing partner organization said, if you have any questions, they have pamphlets, cards available, or you can come up to them. Again, thank you so much. one last request. Can everyone come on this side for a quick photo?
Safety issues. You know, kind of interesting. Huh? Yeah, why not? I mean, I use it for safety issues. You don't know what could happen to you. So I came a little late. Was there any mention about going after the big financial institutions, the Federal Reserve? Okay, well... You see, that... I'm sorry, that kind of puts a fork in this whole thing. Because the lenders are the reason why we drive a lot, we consume a lot, and we buy lots of houses. So, you know, I think that's probably why people have issues with believing in this stuff, because they see it as a way not to control the elites, it's a way to control everyday people. So, food for thought. What do you think? Right, but that's urban heat island effect. It's not the same as climate change. Yeah. So we see here, they're having this little climate change thing. Yeah. Look at this very, very low turnout, as you can see. But you got to understand that the Wall Street bankers are responsible for creating a high consumption lifestyle. See, much of these drivers could have been served by other forms of mass transit. I was in Chicago yesterday, or last few days ago, and apparently the planners, the lenders, the engineers, they designed a landscape for decades that would basically make people drive a lot. But unfortunately, these people don't see that, so they're just basically, you know, looking for ways to tax and regulate everyday people, not the people with the money. And you'll notice how big corporations are supporting these green agendas. This is everything you need to know. It's a complete, basically, I mean, I do believe we have environmental concerns, and I do believe the cities are getting hotter, but there's a lot of evidence that proves otherwise. Hello. Good. Was there any mention about banking, lending institutions, Federal Reserve, Wall Street? Because if they cut off all lending tomorrow, the environment's going to change a lot. That's where people get the money to buy cars and homes and everything.
It's an issue for sure. I don't know that they mentioned that today, but I think personally we need to move from a system of having where economics is our central focus to a system of being where our relationships, where who we are as people is the focus.
Right.
But my name is Will Rucker.
Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you. Have a great night.
I don't know. It's just you got to go to the source.
I agree.
So anyway. So you could see here, there's really not much going on. You kind of see the whole thing. I mean, it's actually, believe it or not, 6:40. So I was hoping to see some elected officials, but they're not here. This really only had a crowd of at most 40 people. And that was by contrast to the abortion event, which really had several times the crowd, probably in the hundreds. So, it's just really sad. Now, let's talk about climate change, because you could see here, they're putting all these palm trees in. And my question is palm trees very water efficient? See, that's where the problem is. But again, They want to beautify it. They just don't know other ways to beautify these areas. So they put these trees up. They put these palm trees. These are brand new. They've been really redoing these areas. And of course, one way to reduce emissions is through roundabouts. So you can see here, a lot of times the cars sit in the intersection and then there's a lot of emissions that come out. So if we would have had roundabouts, not only would it have been more efficient with traffic and safety, but it also would have been more efficient on the environment. See, but there was no mention about roundabouts because a lot of the car traffic is coming at the light. It's not coming. In fact, believe it or not, if cars move at 55 miles an hour, that's actually the most efficient for the environment. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I understand that electric cars has its benefits, but it's not as great as we were led to believe because obviously who powers the electric cars and what about the batteries? See, I like electric cars for one reason because we don't have like an energy monopoly, whatever that we have. So that's one of the things I really like about it. And of course they talked about sprawl, but they don't want to admit that it's the zoning laws, it's the codes we have that causes it in the first place. So when you look at, these are the older areas of Las Vegas. You see the grid streets, the walkable neighborhoods, the uses are closer together. The reason why the system changed, the main reason why the system changed, and of course they don't really know or they don't want to talk about it, is the fact that we had new codes, new laws, regulations that changed our policy. And I've been telling you this for probably over a decade now about why we have a car-dependent landscape. And it doesn't matter if it's low density or high density. Yeah, one electric car is 6 times more. Yeah, I can see that. So anyway, I don't know if these people want to talk, but they probably know who I am. It's just, they're not going to learn. They're going to have to learn through the hard way. And, it's like, you don't even have, I mean, you could even believe that anthropogenic climate change is real, but if you have a different opinion, people just walk away and they never want to talk to you again. And that's the unfortunate truth. But you see, this is what's happened to this side of the political spectrum. And I don't know if you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. Hold big polluters accountable. So, and you can see here, there's really no mention of big money donors or Wall Street or corporations or anything like that. It's just really, really interesting. So, let's see if we can get some permission to film some of these. So, mind if we, excuse me, mind if we get this? Okay. Okay. I don't mind. Yeah, so you see here. So again, it's true, Las Vegas is the fastest warming city, but that has to do with the urban heat island effect. So we know cities are getting hotter, for sure. But of course, the reason why Vegas is getting hotter is because we have, for one thing, parking regulations. And they don't want to talk about that. So, yeah. Save our planet, hold big poodles accountable. So, there you go. All right, folks, it is what it is. We're going to see the reality of all this. Now, what do you think ahead? Are these protests going to grow in the years ahead? I think the issue with all this, I almost forgot, is that the vast majority of the people now believe that the COVID thing, or at least the lockdowns, mandates, everything we had, was full of it, okay? And a lot of people are starting to believe, well, climate change is pushed by the same people. And that's why this movement's going to be in jeopardy in the coming years. Because when we see the effects of the vaccines, which I'm not going to talk about it because YouTube is going to, slam this video down. You think people are going to believe in anthropogenic climate change. And so, yeah, it is what it is. So anyway, I had to capture this live. For the record, thank you guys so much. I'll see you